morning, race fans, and welcome back to the Metro Ford Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. It's the second to final round of the 22 season. We're trying to see who's going to be the top four drivers making it to Phoenix next week to decide the season championship. Welcome back, one and all, at the virtual Martinsville Speedway. We've got 250 laps on the schedule for the half-mile Paperclip Raceway, and as always, I'm your host, James E. Spring, the Action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as right now, single car qualifying is underway. Looks like about 11 drivers have put down time so far, while about 10 more waiting on pit road. We got one triple-digit driver join us today. That's Henry Besaw on the 101, a longtime driver returning at the tail end of the 22 season, so good to see him back. Looking like some heavy titans such as Tom Ogle, Josh Robinson not making their way out just quite yet. But maybe waiting for a little bit of cool track before they get things started. Thank you to our fans, friends, and family. Tune in, supporting the broadcast, as we could not do it without you guys. Still an empty racetrack here in Martinsville. Wait for half the field to go out. I wonder if some of the drivers may be opting to start back from pit road, but they do have a long time to wait before they put down their 3 laps, 2 of which will be timed. Average lap time's about 19-20 seconds here today from what we saw in practice. Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian, sits on pole with a 19.5, and MacArthur, one of those drivers that is in a must-win scenario to make it to the season championship. We've got 8 drivers still in the running, but only taking 4 into next week. Tom Ogle in the lead for the championship points. Eddie Jones in second. Mike Watts tied for second. Greg McDaniel fourth. Ian Gear fifth. Dwayne MacArthur sixth. Ken Huff seventh. And John Hinchcliffe is in eighth. So we believe that Gear, MacArthur, Huff, and Hinchcliffe will be in a must-win situation here to make it to the next round. As Lloyd Moore makes his way out for a qualifying run. Got Jennifer here. She's cheering on Douglas out on track. Or is Douglas's girlfriend, excuse me. Lloyd Moore completes his first timed lap at 20.53. Robert Garisco, the number 28 Ford Mustang, also rolling out on track for qualifying. Let's see what Moore can put down for his second time's got to beat a 19.5 to put it on pole. What's it going to be as he makes his way down the start-finish line stretch? A 20.38. Robert Garisco making his way around. Seeing what type of time he can put down. Garisco at 20.14 his opening lap. Briscoe gets ready to cross the timing loop. What's it going to be? A 19.92, moving up a little bit. The standings up to 10th. But right now, Briscoe's going to hold on to 10th. Dwayne MacArthur will still hold on to the pole position. Still looks like Besaw, Robinson, Dodson, Sidner, Ogle. It looks like Dan Hill's going to make his way out late in the qualifying run. We got about 2 minutes left in qualifying. Dan Hill's been very fast this season, has qualified on pole several times. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do here late into the qualifying run. Running the trademark MXPX paint scheme on the number 10. He has been known this season for great qualifying runs. Looks like Josh Robinson also getting queued up to get out on track for qualifying. Hill with his opening lap time. I'm expecting him to get a pretty quick one here. Ooh, I wonder if Hill may have dragged the wall. That lap time did not count. So Hill, this is going to be his final attempt to put down a qualifying time. If these drivers have any brushes with the wall, it negates anything you have done. And look at that, Dan Hill goes straight to the top. A 19.48 puts it on provisional pole. Let's see if Josh Robinson can fire back in the number 23 machine. Robinson makes his way around for his first timed lap. He clicks off a 19.65. Dan Hill sits on pole. I think Robinson has a good chance of possibly dethroning him. And now look at this. Tom Ogle has not gone out for a qualifying run. Your current championship leader maybe starting from the back here. Robinson, his first was a 19.65. He does a 19.61, neither moving up or dropping in position. Bert Dodson, Chris Sidner, Tom Ogle not putting down qualifying runs tonight. Henry Besaw, the 101, the triple-digit driver, not allowed to go out for qualifying until he re-earns the double-digit number. So that should lock in our running order here today in Martinsville. And yes, that's going to end qualifying as we get ready for today's main event. It's Martinsville, 250 laps. Let's go ahead and run through today's grid order. Starting on pole, Dan Hill, the number 10 machine. Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian, starting second. Michael Watts starting third. Dakota Grandpa Pischke starting fourth. Josh Robinson starting fifth. Brian Lindsay starts sixth. Chris Walsh starting seventh. Greg McDaniel starts eighth. Eddie Cajun Jones starting ninth. Lee Warsdale starting 10th. Derek Cottingham starting 11th. Robert Garisco starts 12th. Cycling it on back, we've got Darrell Winninger starting 13th. Lloyd Moore starting 14th. Dean Gear starts 15th. Tom Ogle starting 16th. Henry Besaw starts 17th. Chris Sidner starting 18th. And Bert Dodson will round out the 19-car grid here today, the second to last championship round. As we roll out behind our iRacing safety car, 250 laps on the schedule. Looks like Michael Watts, the number 84 machine, has some sort of problems, not able to make it out onto the grid. Your front row is going to be MacArthur and Hill. Second row, Pischke, Robinson. Third row will be Brian Lindsay, Greg McDaniel. Now it's going to be interesting to see how the cautions might fall here today. Here we go, 250 laps here at Martinsville. Hill and MacArthur will set the stage up front. Barney, our flagman, looks on, and we are green flag racing, getting this party started. And already it looked like that may have been Dakota Pischke going very wide through 1 and 2. The field stacks up behind. We hinted some 3-wide action. Hill holds on the lead, and Josh Robinson already making a big lunge up towards second. Robinson edging out MacArthur, squeezing that inside line. Driver's going to be very defensive here to hold on to any position they can, guarding, hugging that inside line. Not a lot of room, not a lot of real estate to make things happen. As we're still too wide, looks like that's Greg McDaniel trying to get around Darrell Winninger. Behind them, Dean Gear, Lee Warsdale. Gear up the inside line of Warsdale, picks the spot up. But we've got problems, big problems, as Chris Walsh finds himself pointing the wrong direction. I believe I saw Dean Gear in that one as well. And let's take a look at our Metro Forward backed instant replay to see what happened for our first caution of the night, focusing in on Chris Walsh. The number 63 machine, oh, just gets loose there. Around he goes. And there's Dean Gear involved in a separate incident. It looked like a separate incident. I wonder if Gear did the exact same thing. Now we're focused in on the KFC back 92 machine. About the center of your screen, there's Lee Warsdale, Greg McDaniel, and yes, Gear almost identical mistake as Chris Walsh, loses the back end, and around she goes for our first caution of the evening. 4 laps into this main event. These drivers may be in for a long afternoon if this is going to be setting the stage. First caution of the night, Dan Hill will be your race leader. Josh Robinson is up 3 spots into second. MacArthur third. Eddie Jones in fourth, up 5 spots. And Dakota Pischke will round out the top 5 as it stands. In the field, stacked back up double file. Several drivers taking the opportunity to come down pit road, grab some fresh tires underneath them. No, I take that back. Nobody pitting. And still, Michael Watts not able to get out on track, so he is going to be a DNS this evening. Hate to see it for Watts in the 84. He's normally a very fast driver, frequently at the pointy end of the field. Pace car is in. It's Hill and Robinson on the front row. MacArthur and Jones, 2 teammates on the second row. This is going to be exciting, as it looks like MacArthur gave a little bit of a bump there to Hill. Now watch this. Hill and MacArthur are going to guard that inside line like there's no tomorrow. Robinson going to try and make it happen the long way around here, but that's a tough line to take. Everybody's got the same set of tires underneath them, and it looks like Robinson will slot into second a little bit further back. Greg McDaniel, Darrell Winninger side by side as they go deep. There's Robert Garisco edging out Warsdale. Henry Vesal also in the fray just outside the top 10. And it's too early to guess, but I do wonder if we're going to see the front bumper come into play here when drivers know they may be in a must-win situation to lock themselves in the final 4. Tom Ogle back in 11th. He's in 5 spots. He's already locked in the White Claw back Ford Mustang. He's stuck in behind Robert Garisco as well as Darrell Winters. The field's very, very tight here. A little bit further back, Lloyd Moore sitting in 15th. He's got Dean Gear, Chris Walsh, and Bert Dodson right behind him. As it looks like, and I don't want to jinx it, the field may be calming down ever so slightly. As Dan Hill gets a bit of a breakaway in the race lead, a second ahead of Josh Robinson's mate MacArthur. MacArthur, one of those drivers who's in a must-win situation. I think even with a 3rd place finish, I don't think that's going to be enough points for MacArthur to make his way in. He had a terrible stroke of bad luck last week. And he is past the point of damage control mode now in a bit of a frantic situation. Chris Sidner, Lee Warsdale. Oh, who is that? That was Dean Gear, yes, in the outside wall. Coming into tonight, Gear had a little bit of braking issues. to try and get that car slowed down, and it seems that it is striking once more as the battle just outside the top 50, or just inside the top 15. Lloyd Moore, Lee Warsdale, Chris Walsh, all going at it here. There's Chris Walsh throwing the Jim Beam back Chevrolet up the inside line of Warsdale. And I think this evening is going to be a game of consistency. He who can make the least amount of mistakes. We've already seen 2 solo car incidents this evening. As now we're watching Daryl Winninger's number 15 machine try and fend off Robert Narisco, Tom Ogle. The big mistakes you're going to see here tonight at Martinsville are drivers coming in too hot, overcooking their tires, and they'll kind of push up and out towards the outside wall, allowing drivers to quickly slide up the inside and make a position the easy way. As we check in on Eddie Jones, he's got Dakota Pischke right behind him. Looks like Michael Watts is going to make his way out very late, but Jones, a big mistake, going to lose the 4th place spot to Dakota Pischke. And now Garrett Cottingham has his eyes in the top 5, tucked in behind that number 14 machine. Our charger of the evening so far, Tom Ogle, that number 11 machine, did not qualify, but has moved his way up into 10th. Field stacking up a little bit behind Greg McDaniel. McDaniel in 8th. He's got Winninger, Ogle, Garisco right behind him. Ogle taking a peek to the inside line of Winninger, hoping for some sort of mistake out of that number 15 machine. Now Ogle is probably in the best position of any driver out on track. He's locked his way into the Final 4 and just out here enjoying the racing. And that could very well be the reason he did not qualify in pole, as he has a big lunge up the inside line of Winninger. Winninger pushes out wide. Who's going to get the power down? It looks like it's going to be Ogle. And Robert Garisco tries to follow as well. And if he can work into the 10th place spot, it looks like Garisco is going to make it happen here. Winninger fires back with a good run, but Garisco has that preferred inside line. Once you're guarding and hugging that apron, it's tough for anybody to get around you without any movement coming into play. Year coming down pit road as Ogle attempts to track down Greg McDaniel, the Kim Bullnet sponsor number 30 machine. I just saw a big bobble out of Garisco at the back of our screen. That allowed Winninger to really close the gap. Garisco may have come in a little bit too deep. Here, in and out of his pit stall in 19 seconds, taking tires and maybe doing some car adjustments. And back up front, there's Dan Hill, race leader, with Josh Robinson, MacArthur spread out a half second each behind that number 10. Now Hill was extremely fast in the opening 25 laps or so. I do wonder, is that going to be maybe affecting him with tire wear? As we've got another pack of drivers starting to stack up. We're focused in on Garrett Cottingham. He's 6th. There's Eddie Jones just ahead. And behind the all-yellow 77 is Brian Lindsay, Greg McDaniel, Tom Ogle. Making some moves up through the field here. Ogle, a big move up the inside line of McDaniel. Taking over the 8th place spot. Seeing a puff of smoke just ahead. Not sure if that was Cottingham or Lindsay with a little bit of a micro lockup. Field really starting to bunch up here. Cottingham putting the pressure on Jones while also having simultaneous pressure from Brian Lindsay's number 24 machine right behind. Dan Hill holds onto the race lead ahead of Josh Robinson. Now drivers can go an extremely long time on fuel here today. Seeing about 140 laps of fuel run during the practice sessions. And drivers reporting the tires mostly getting hot and just slowing down, but still relatively manageable throughout the run. As Tom Ogle continues his charge, now putting the pressure on Garrett Cottingham's number 77 machine, less than 2/10 separating the drivers. Ogle's going to take a peek here into turn 3, and looks like Ogle's going to continue that charge up towards the front, pulling on a 6 spots gain so far. And while this is going on, your race leader, Dan Hill, having a bit more pressure from behind by Josh Robinson. And there will be lap traffic to contend with. That's Lee Warsdale, the number 99 machine. He's running 16th. Warsdale goes high to allow Hill and Robinson by as quickly as possible. So well done to Warsdale, hopping out of the way there. And even more positions gained for Tom Ogle, the number 11 Ford Mustang, sponsored by White Claw. Now up 11 positions. We knew the Team Miata drivers were going to be quick here this evening. We didn't know just how quick Ogle was going to be. Starting from the back and having no issues with it. As Hill continues working through traffic, I think that's going to be Lloyd Moore's 26 machine. We're also going wide to allow Hill and Robinson by nice and easy. Dwayne MacArthur in third. He's about 1.2 seconds back from your race leader. Hill just clicking off laps here. He's led just about every lap so far, holding on to that race lead and making it look relatively easy so far. Robinson, though, very, very patient. He's not going to make a move unless he's absolutely sure he can quickly get around Hill and check out. No sense risking the car this early on into the main event. As Hill getting dangerously close to that outside wall. Still 19 drivers out on track after the 19 that entered here this evening. Robinson still just stalking the number 10 of Dan Hill, looking for a way around, or maybe just a mistake out of Hill. That'll be enough to let him wiggle on by. A little bit further back in the field, Garrett Cottingham, Brian Lindsay, 7th and 8th, separated by 0.3 of a second. A little bit further behind him is a nice tidy pack. That's Greg McDaniel, Robert Orisco, Daryl Winninger, and Henry Besaw. Everybody kind of checking up an accordion here. As Lindsay keeping the pressure on Cottingham. Just about a quarter of the way through today's main event. We've had one caution so far. I'm very interested to see what the pit strategies are going to be for these drivers. Will they stay out for the duration of a fuel run? Will they come in early for tires to help out with their lap times? The pace hasn't dropped off too badly. Everybody's about 7/8 tenths off their fastest lap of the race after 50 laps. The pace still relatively quick as here we go. Cottingham makes a little bit of a bobble, and Brian Lindsay wiggles his way up into 7th. Now Lindsay's about 1.8 seconds back from Eddie Jones, so a long, clean section of track ahead of him. As Daryl Winninger trying to catch up to Robert Orisco in the number 10 machine. Always good to see how close the field can remain over a run here. So many talented drivers at the Metro Ford Cup Series. And it's very rare you find yourself out on track with nobody to be racing against. Looks like MacArthur had a bit of a bobble. No, that was Lee Warsdale in the 99 machine. As Winninger throws it in deep, the inside line against Garisco. Well, it's going to be another drag race, but Winninger has that preferred line. Looks like he's going to hold on inside the top 10 here. But it's tough to get the power down when you angle off the car that tight. But Winninger able to make it happen. Moving up in the top 10, he's about a half second back from Greg McDaniel, sitting in 9th. McDaniel keeping the pressure on Garrett Cottingham. And speaking of, McDaniel slides up the inside line against the number 70. Winninger's going to do the same. So Cottingham now finds himself sitting 10th as Daryl Winninger having a great run here. That number 15, he is up 4 positions gained. And Cottingham just keeps getting bullied out on track as now Robert Garisco up the inside line. The tire wear and the tightness of the machine definitely a factor as we see Henry Besaw returning with a triple-digit 101. He's going to take a peek to the inside line of Cottingham. And this is what makes Martinsville so difficult for the drivers. If you get off that inside line, almost impossible to get back down there and hold on to it. Check back in on race leader Dan Hill, and he's got a lot of traffic ahead of him. He's putting He's allowed it, so it's only 12 drivers on the lead lap as we pull up the live timing tower to the left side of your screen. Oh, and he's got company. Josh Robinson up the inside line is going to take over the race lead here on lap 59 with your new race leader, Josh Robinson. Now it's going to be Robinson's turn to punch through traffic. Dwayne MacArthur has closed the gap to the top two as well. Only about a half-second back from Dan Hill. The top three separated by about 8/10 first through third. And now Josh Robinson will be the first driver pushing through traffic here. Looks like that's going to be Garrett Cottingham, Henry Besaw, just ahead of the race leader. And this is where it gets exciting. Robinson does not want to put himself too much in the vortex of danger. Robinson wiggling through traffic. That's Henry Besaw going wide to allow that number 23 machine around. Looks like Hill gets caught up ever so slightly. Now we still have not seen any green flag, or I guess planned pit stops of the evening. But Dan Hill, Josh Robinson, Dwayne MacArthur all inside the top three, putting on a clinic here today in Martinsville. Robinson quickly pulling a 1.2 second gap over Hill. Hill has about a 1 second advantage over Dwayne MacArthur. Warsdale comes down pit road on lap 62 as the last driver who took a green flag pit stop. The number 99 machine may have had a little bit of damage on the side of it, but he's in and out in 15 seconds, signifying a 4-tire stop. And so far, besides the one early caution, things have been going well for these drivers. You can see the back rotors glowing on Robinson's number 23 machine, heavy on the rear brake bias throughout the run to help rotate that car. That's a great shot showing the rotor glow. But with that more rear brake bias, again, helps the car rotate a little bit. Also makes it a little bit tougher to hold on to. But Robinson really working the brakes here. Showing excellent car control as he's tucked in behind Robert Garisco's 28. Garisco running 10th out on track. And Robinson not backing off the pace much here. Warsdale goes high to allow these drivers by. Looks like Garisco will do the same to help allow Robinson by, not wanting to interfere with the race leader. And Robinson's checked out now. He's 2.3 seconds up over Dan Hill, but always fun to watch him blitzing through traffic. Just has to be careful not to get collected. If somebody else makes a mistake, not a lot of room to escape here at Martinsville. Looks like that's the number 15 machine who's going to be the next target to be put down a lap by Robinson. Winger sitting 9th. He's up 4 positions. Again, your hard charger out on track. Still Tom Ogle in 5th, who is up 11 positions so far after opting to not qualifying. Ogle locked himself into the championship playoff and now is just out here for the glory of it, as it looks like Robinson's skating through traffic once more. That's Dean Gear. No, excuse me, that's going to be Chris Walsh in the 63. Walsh tags the outside wall, getting off of his line. And that's going to leave us with just 8 drivers on the lead lap. About to be 7 is Robinson clicking them off here. Greg McDaniel goes high, letting Robinson down on the apron. All these drivers so extremely respectful, knowing that they just want to let the race leader through uncontested, not want to be the driver that maybe tags the leader by accident. And these guys run with each other 4 or 5 times throughout the week, so everybody knows it's one thing if you cause a mistake and take yourself out, but it is exponentially worse if you accidentally ruin somebody else's evening. Ryan Lindsay running 7th, the next target for Robinson. Lindsay goes high, letting Robinson by nice and easy. Now, thankfully for Robinson, he hasn't run into a position quite yet where there's drivers battling for position as he makes his way through, because if that's the case, those drivers are focusing on their own race, and the race leader is going to come a little bit secondary when it comes to their attempts at letting him by. And now Robinson has relatively clean track ahead of him. Let's see what the lap time shows as Robinson makes his way across the start-finish line. Lap prior was a 20.48, a 20.39 that time by. He's still about 7/10 off his fastest laps with the tire wear. Not a major factor for that 23 machine. We check in on Daryl Winninger in 9th. He's 4/10 back from Greg McDaniel's number 30 machine. McDaniel qualified 8th, currently running as such. Daryl Winninger up 4 spots into 9th, having a pretty good run so far. And it seems like he's got some momentum built up, rapidly closing the gap back to Greg McDaniel. McDaniel able to hold on to the pace here, fending off Winninger, who sits just inside the top 10. Winninger has other plans, closing the gap once more, back to a 1/4 of a second. It looks like we've got some racing going on further in the back. Chris Walsh taking away the 13th place spot from Lloyd Moore. And now Moore lags behind by about 6/10 of a second. And 7th as he's got a little bit of traffic coming through. That's Dakota Pischke making his way around. Checking back in, Josh Robinson putting more and more drivers down a lap. That's Brian Lindsay, the number 24 machine. And I've got to say, Robinson's the only driver we've noticed with the rear brakes glowing that fiercely here. So maybe a bit of a testament to how well he's got that number 23 machine hooked up and rolling. And for the most part, the field fairly stretched out here despite a little bit of traffic saying otherwise. Actual races for position a little bit few and far between as it stands. And I'm very curious to see how long is Robinson going to stay out for. Is the track position just that much worth it to stay out till the end of the fuel run? Fuel run again, 140 laps is what drivers are able to do. We're going to go on board with Josh Robinson for a few hot laps here in the engine's roar. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the Metro Ford Cup Series here at Martinsville. Robinson continuing that dominant run out in first. We have left it with just 5 drivers on the lead lap. It's Robinson, Hill, MacArthur, Pischke, and Ogle. Your current top 5 as, man, oh man, Robinson is blitzing through traffic. I believe only one driver has done a green flag stop so far. That's Lee Warsdale, the 99 machine. He came down to lap 70, opting for damage repair in pit road for 50 seconds. Trying to get that thing hammered back into shape. And it looks like Dakota Pischke slowly closing the gap to Dwayne MacArthur in third. As Robinson checking out, he's still 4.5 seconds ahead of Dan Hill's number 10 machine. Hill just about 6 seconds ahead of MacArthur and Pischke, who are linked up third and fourth. Well, let's go a little bit further back. We've got some good racing going on for 11. Garrett Cottingham making his way around Henry Beesall and now trying to catch up to Brian Lindsay's number 24 machine. Cottingham able to work through traffic a little bit more cleanly, closing the gap. I believe that's Eddie Jones's number 14 machine just ahead as well, as he sits in 6th. Drivers getting all mixed up on what lap they're on here. Again, 5 drivers on the lead lap. About 4 more, 1 lap down. The rest of the field, 2 or more laps down from Josh Robinson, who's making it look easy up in front. Not quite to the halfway mark in today's main event, but still plenty of racing left to go. And I'm excited to see if we get some green flag pit stops here at Martinsville. As Brian Lindsay extends that gap now to 6/10. While that's going on, Greg McDaniel, as Daryl Winninger closing the gap in what will be the battle for 7th. These 2 drivers are about 5.5 seconds back from Eddie Jones sitting in 6th. But traffic's so tough to contend with. We've got Michelle here. She's cheering on Dakota Pischke, Dakota Grandpa Pischke as he's lovingly called by the fans. Sitting in 4th, still tucked in behind MacArthur by about a half second. Checking in on Grandpa Pischke, the number 1, sponsored by Monster. You can see Dwayne MacArthur's 83 machine just ahead. And a lot of traffic ahead of these 2 drivers, making it tough to make any big moves. MacArthur wiggling through traffic, Pischke looking for an opening, but the tires are just making these cars so extremely tight at this point. MacArthur and Pischke working their way through traffic, still separated by about a half second here. More traffic for MacArthur. I think that's going to be Lloyd Moore's 26 machine just ahead in the Wonder Bread backed Chevrolet. Going to be interesting how this plays out, because now Tom Ogle catching up to the battle here. At the top of your screen, you can see that number 11, the bright orange White Claw backed Ford Mustang, closing the gap as well to the 3rd and 4th place drivers. And Tom Ogle closing the gap now to less than a half second behind Pischke. Now, lap traffic can either hinder you or help you out here at Martinsville, and it seems like in the case of Ogle, with MacArthur and Pischke 3rd and 4th blitzing through traffic just ahead of him, letting traffic know, hey, there's some guys coming through. and he's been able to close that gap. And look at that, Ogle right on the back bumper. Pischke gives him a little bit of a bump. Then look out, here we go. As Tom Ogle moves up into fourth, edging out Pischke. That's going to be 12 spots gained for the Pumpkin Spice White Claw back number 11 Ford Mustang. Tom Ogle on the drive of his life here. Ogle running almost a half second faster than MacArthur or Pischke. From longtime friends, longtime rivals, all making it happen. Here comes Ogle, starting to catch up to Dwayne MacArthur. Again, Ogle's already locked his way into the Final Four of the championship. It's all for the glory now. We believe MacArthur was in a must-win situation to make it into the Final Four. As we do have drivers starting green flag pit stops. Brian Lindsay will be the first driver down at the halfway mark of this main event at Martinsville. Very surprised a lot. Oh, and Josh Robinson, your race leader, is going to come down pit road. Dan Hill also coming down. Looks like Ogle's going to signal he's coming down pit road as well. But Dwayne MacArthur will stay out. Now, what's the plan for MacArthur going to be? Is he going to hope for a mid-race caution here? Because now drivers will be rolling back out on track with fresh tires underneath them. And that can make it a little bit slippery after you're used to 125 laps of tightness. That's got to be the plan for MacArthur, hoping for a caution. As now, oh, Josh Robinson, though, still on the lead lap. That's going to leave MacArthur, McDaniel, and Wittinger, three drivers who have yet to come down here. It looks like Lloyd Moore also staying out, the number 26 machine. But MacArthur gets some laps led here at Martinsville. Accompanied by Greg McDaniel second, Darrell Wittinger third, but those drivers have not come down pit road yet. But I think the move has got to be that MacArthur is hoping for a caution here. Is now Greg McDaniel down pit road. Josh Robinson's going to move back up into third. We think MacArthur only has about 8 or 9 laps left of fuel before he's going to have to complete a green flag stop. Tom Ogle back in 6th with fresh tires, clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 19.61. As there's Darrell Wittinger coming down pit road. That's going to put Dwayne MacArthur, your race leader, but again has not completed that green flag stop and what we think will be a one-stop race barring any cautions. We had one caution early on around lap 3 or 4. Other than that, it's been clean green racing. And with MacArthur staying out and Robinson having such a quick pit stop, I believe that's only 2 drivers on the lead lap. Yes, that's correct. Tom Ogle, another record-setting lap, a 19.56 late into the race. As we're starting to see a lot of personal bests, Josh Robinson, Dan Hill clicking off their fastest laps of the race as well. Now right now, Robinson gaining about a second per lap over MacArthur. MacArthur going wide to allow Dan Hill with fresh tires to unlap himself. Robinson slowly closing the gap, 12.5 seconds back from MacArthur. MacArthur has 136 laps on that set of tires underneath that 83 Bass Pro Back Chevrolet. Fast Canadian hoping for a Hail Mary here, a caution to kind of reset the field and keep Robinson at bay so he does not have to complete a green flag pit stop. Looks like Lloyd Moore, the only other driver who has yet to come down pit road. So it's going to be MacArthur and Moore going for a wild overcut. Looks like that's going to be Eddie Jones trying to get a lap back here in the number 14 machine, just behind race leader MacArthur. Robinson's closed the gap now to 9 seconds to your race leader. Not quite showing up in frame yet. MacArthur goes wide to help facilitate that pass on the behalf of Eddie Jones. 140 laps MacArthur has been here. How much longer can he stay out for? Now MacArthur still, he will have about the freshest tires out on track after he completes his green flag stop. Will that be enough? As again, MacArthur, we believe, is in a must-win situation to make his way to the next round of playoffs. There's Michael Watts, the 84 machine, a late entry, not able to make the start of the race after qualifying in third. So hate to see it for Watts. They get normally at the front end of the field. And you can also see Tom Ogle's number 11 machine. He's up 12 spots, trying to get back on the lead lap. Ogle makes his way around both Watts and MacArthur. MacArthur, oh, big eyes as Michael Watts comes blasting in from behind. While this is going on, Josh Robinson's closed the gap now to 4.7 seconds to race leader MacArthur. We've got 4 drivers on the lead lap. And just over 100 laps left to go here. MacArthur during this run having to slow down a little bit as he gets offline to help drivers make their way around. That looked like it was Brian Lindsay, I believe, the number 24 machine, getting a lap back here. Josh Robinson quickly approaching, about 1 second back from race leader MacArthur. And MacArthur's going to take this opportunity to come down pit road. His first stop of the night, lap 146, a full 20 to 21 laps after the rest of the field. Is it going to be enough to come out on fresh tires with 100 laps left to go and try and track down Robinson? Lloyd Moore, the number 26, the only other driver who has yet to come down pit road. Oh, and just as that happens, a caution comes out. Bert Dodson with a single incident. How is this going to affect the restart? Is MacArthur going to be stuck a lap down here? Let's take a look to see what happened to Bert Dodson, the 59 machine. It looks like he tags the outside wall slightly. Oh, he's just offline. Too much rear brake, over rotates and drills the outside wall. And the caution will come out. And this is gonna be very interesting. Josh Robinson, Dan Hill, Tom Ogle. who are on the lead lap, come down pit road. What will Dakota Pischke and Dwayne MacArthur do? Dakota came down lap 126, MacArthur lap 146. Pischke gets the wave around, lucky dog contention. MacArthur may still be stuck down here a lap, but the one saving grace he will have is cautions breed cautions as the rest of the field looks like they come back down pit road. Pischke stays out. Josh Robinson stays out. And Pischke back down pit road. So it's going to be Robinson and Hill, the front row. And I believe possibly Ogle and MacArthur your second row. A mid-race caution to throw a wrench into things. I believe MacArthur may be on the lead lap here. Interesting. I think he'll get the wave around. Now, even if MacArthur's down a lap, but not the end of the world, cautions tend to breed cautions, especially on short track racing. So may have another opportunity here if we get another quick caution. Only our second caution so far, 151 laps in. And yes, MacArthur will get the wave around, as well as Robert Garisco. The rest of the field gets gridded up double file. That's Robinson and Hill in the front row. The pace car is in. MacArthur's going to get stuck out there in no man's land. Ogle, Pischke, your second row. No, it looks like it's going to be Winninger who's a lap down, but the green flag is out. And away we go. MacArthur did not get any luck on that one. As now Josh Robinson will have the race lead with fresh tires underneath him, but keep an eye out on Tom Ogle. He's up 14 spots and doing it for the glory. If Ogle can start from the back and still pick up a win, as I say that, the back end snaps loose on Ogle, able to hold on to it. We're reminding these drivers, hey, we've got fresh rubber underneath us. They're not up to temp yet. Anything is going to be a little bit loose till we get into the run properly. It takes about 20 to 30 laps here at Martinsville for the car to really snug up. But if we were going to see a third caution, I would expect in the next 5 to 10 laps as drivers get back into a groove here. There's Dan Hill still in the hunt, sitting third. He's about 8/10 back from Josh Robinson, about a half second back from Ogle. Just keeping the pressure on that 23 machine. We know Ogle has raw pace here tonight. Will he make a move on fellow Team Miata driver Josh Robinson? Ogle's already in the championship, the final championship round. Robinson knows he can't make his way in. So it's all for bragging rights here today in Martinsville. Garisco rolls back out on track. Gets passed by Chris Cinder. Josh Robinson clicks off the fastest lap of the race at 19.55. The number 23 machine feeling good here. And look, not as much rotor glow. I think Robinson really working the brake bias throughout the run. That is exactly what he's doing. If the car starts to tighten up, he'll back that brake bias up. If you remember early on in the race and late in that first 150 lap run we had, those rear rotors on the 23 machine glowing red hot. Not the case early into this run. So just one of those tips and tricks that allows Robinson to be up towards the front each and every time he races. There's your top three: Robinson, Ogle, Hill. Getting as close to the outside wall to get set up for the corners as they possibly can. There's big smoke there. Not seeing anything on our crash report, so somebody was able to correct a major issue. That's what we said. If we're going to see a third caution, I'd expect it early into this run. The longer these drivers have to tighten things up, the better their chances of getting in a solid groove and keeping this thing going. The fact that we've only had 2 cautions so far at Martinsville is a testament to how great these drivers really are. Now Robinson has more traffic on the horizon. We've only got 5 drivers on the lead lap at this point. 16 of the 19 entries still out on track, chugging around here. Chris Walsh, Lee Warsdale, Dean Gear, all having to put it back in the virtual hauler early on this evening. And it looks like Henry Besaw putting the pressure on Garrett Cottingham's number 77 in the battle for 11th. 4-10 separating these 2 drivers. Esau hoping for any sort of mistake out of that 77. He's been very consistent tonight in the 101 though, gaining 5 spots over the duration of the run. Your race leader, Josh Robinson's been running about 8 or 9 hundredths of a second faster than Ogle. 1 second separating the top 2 drivers. Jade Hill still holding on to 3rd. As it looks like Besaw just not quite able to wiggle around the 77 of Cottingham. In the battle for 11th, Lloyd Moore still holding on to a top 10 to the number 26 machine. There's all sorts of traffic here at Martinsville. Checking back in, race leader Josh Robinson. Making it look easy here with about 80 laps left to go in today's main event. Josh Robinson rejoining the series late into 2022, so again, not a championship contender. I would dare to say, though, if that 23 machine ran the full season, he'd be right up here in the mix of it, as he was the 2021 season championship here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. And we're going to have another caution coming out. Trying to see where it was. Possibly Daryl Winninger involved, and yes, it was. Oh, Daryl Winninger going for a wild ride. Let's take a look at that once more, back it up. Trying to see what on earth just happened here to Winninger. I wonder if he money shifts it. Grabs too many downshifts, flat tracks in. There's Dwayne MacArthur just ahead, and look at that. Yeah, Winninger. Get one more at that. I want to listen. Wrong camera angle, but I think the story is the same. Listen to the revs on this replay, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Daryl Winninger with the money shift. Flat tracks it in, keeps it off the wall. Grabbing too many gears on the old downshift. Looks like everybody inside the top 5 coming down pit road. Not sure what happened there today at Hill. That's a terrible time to blank. It's going to be Robinson Ogle, the first off of pit road. Hill and then MacArthur. No, Hill, Pischke, then MacArthur roll out. Our third caution of the night, 75 laps left to go. So for our fans at home, a money shift is when you try and grab one downshift. Sometimes you grab 2 or 3, resulting in mechanical over-rev, rear tires that do not want to stay planted, and our third caution of the evening here at Martinsville, where it's going to be Robinson, Ogle, Hill, Pischke, MacArthur, your top 5, but now the field's going to be very well bunched up together. You've got 2 Team Miata drivers up front. I want to say Dan Hill may also be a Team Miata driver this season as well. But will Robinson and Ogle be working together on the front row to fend off all those behind them? Pace car is in, green flag is out. Robinson Ogle side by side. There's Dan Hill in hot pursuit, the number 10 machine. Trying to work his way forward, and there's also Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian. MacArthur's going to be driving a little bit frantically, knowing he's in a must-win situation. He can taste it, how close he is. Everybody once again coming out with fresh tires underneath them. MacArthur moving up into third. Ogle keeping the pressure on Robinson as the top 2 drivers. A bit of a breakaway here. I think it's going to be 6 drivers on the lead lap. Robinson and Ogle separated by about 0.3 of a second. MacArthur 0.7 behind and trying to close the gap. Ogle still our hard charge evening. He's up 14 positions gained so far. Does not need a win. Doesn't even really need the points here tonight, but could always use the bragging rights. Neither driver too heavy on the rear brake bias here, not seeing any rotor glow to speak of. running identical lines through here. You can see MacArthur still about 3/4 of a second back from these top two drivers. And I do wonder, even in Martinsville, if the draft will play any sort of factor, or maybe the clean air more important for these guys. MacArthur running just about 6/700ths of a second faster than those in front of him, but he has whittled that gap down now to a half second. With a possible championship on the line, will the front bumpers, the chrome horns, come into play here in Martinsville? As we all know the old saying, that's just short track racing when it comes down to it. Here we go, the top three very bunched up. It's Robinson, Ogle, MacArthur. 1, 2, 3, Hill and Pischke round out the top five. Who's going to be the first driver to make an attempt? Will Ogle even try and pass Robinson here? I think he will. I think Ogle is hungry enough, knowing that even though it's his teammate, a win from starting from the back would be an excellent way to cap off the regular season before we go to the championship round next week at Phoenix. Robinson pulls about a 6/10 advantage over Ogle. Ogle 4/10 ahead of MacArthur, and here comes Dan Hill, the number 10 machine, joining the hunt. We've had 3 cautions so far. Victory Lane Sports asking us, will we see Ogle give teammate Robinson the old Gibbs treatment? I don't think it would be that bad, that malicious if it came down to it. But these drivers all inside the top 4, really the top 5. Hey, even the guys on the lead lap at this point all have the ability to pull off a very clean and textbook bump and run. We've seen it before in short track racing, especially here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. I believe it was Thompson giving Ogle a very clean push out of the way in seasons past. So I would not be surprised for that to happen later on, especially when championships are on the line. I would think it would be more likely for somebody like MacArthur gently suggest someone go up a line rather than Robinson and Ogle, since MacArthur is in that must-win situation. Oh, Dan Hill tags the outside wall. But even to be in that situation, MacArthur has to be right behind Robinson. And he's got Tom Ogle between them. Ogle may very well be racing for the lead, but whether he wants to be or not is helping out teammate Robinson. Running as a bit of a blocking force, keeping the fast Canadian behind. But these top 3 drivers starting to stretch out a little bit, about 8/10 between everybody, approaching 9/10. And however, if we have another caution with MacArthur currently sitting 3rd, he would be on that preferred inside line for the restart. So a lot of variables at play here. And I think that's why Dan Hill's being so aggressive against MacArthur, knowing that if you restart on the outside line, it is a surefire way to lose 1, if not more, spots on a restart. Track position is so just incredibly crucial here. And now we're starting to see the rotor glow out of these drivers. MacArthur and Hill both heavy working the rear brake bias further and further back as the run progresses. You can also see Grandpa Pischke, the number 1 machine, sitting 5th. He's closed the gap to Hill to now about a half second. Robson's pulled a 1 second advantage over Ogle, 1.4 over MacArthur. So it's 3rd through 5th starting to bunch up here. Here comes Hill, keeping the pressure on MacArthur. Oh, more drivers starting to tag the outside wall as the machines tighten up. Only about 25 laps into this run, but drivers already starting to feel the effects. Everybody looking for any sort of mistake as Robinson and Ogle stretch the gap out front. Looks like Bert Dawson's going to come down pit road, the 59 machine, for a late race pit stop. I wonder if that was the 59 we heard and very briefly saw tagging the outside wall. But right now it's MacArthur, Hill, Pischke. Third, fourth, fifth, still separated by about 0.6 of a second between the three of them. I'm trying to grab a tighter angle on Dan Hill to see if those rotors are starting to glow. Yeah, look at that. Hill heavy on the brakes, getting that number 10 machine slowed down and helping to rotate it. MacArthur doing just about the same here. Now I can't tell, it looks like Hill has a little bit more front brake bias and the car starting to glow the fronts as well. MacArthur using a little bit more rear brake, and Dakota Pischke right there on the back bumper of Dan Hill. Yeah, look at that, even Pischke showing a little bit more front motor glow compared to MacArthur. Looks to be a fairly balanced car, maybe a smidgen more rear brake bias. But Dan Hill gets a little bit of a break there with lap traffic helping to put about a 4/10 gap between himself and Pischke. And he's going to use that momentum. That momentum may be slightly interrupted by a tag to the outside wall. But still, nonetheless, the momentum allowed him to close the gap to MacArthur in third. You could just barely see Ogle about a straightaway ahead as Ogle sits in second. Bert Dawson in pit road for a long time, 2 minutes and 15 seconds and counting. So must have had some pretty substantial repairs there in the 59 Ford Mustang. Here comes Pischke, keeping Dan Hill honest. Hill in a tough spot to be in. He wants to get around MacArthur just ahead of him. But knowing if that pass attempt doesn't work out, Pischke right behind to try and capitalize. MacArthur just ever so slightly rubbing against that outside wall, getting the optimum line there. And he can get in and out as smoothly as possible. These top 5 drivers, or at least third through fifth, still separated about 0.8 between the two of them. Neither of the 3 drivers able to stretch their gap out too much or really close too much distance here. A little bit further back, looked like Lloyd Moore and Henry Vesaw having a battle for 11th, also separated by about 3 to 4/10 of a second. Vesaw just focusing on running smooth and clean here tonight so he can re-earn that double-digit number. He's tucked in behind Lloyd Moore's 26 machine. When Esau goes wide to allow Josh Robinson, your race leader, by. There's Tom Ogle in the background. But now a little bit of lap traffic to play with for Robinson. A lot of lap traffic to drive through, it looks like. Got 6 drivers on the lead lap. Robinson's pulled a 2.5-second advantage over Tom Ogle's second. Wayne MacArthur 7.4 seconds back from the race leader, and MacArthur has his hands full with Dan Hill and Dakota Pischke, not giving the fast Canadian any chance of reprieve here, any sort of break. As the 3rd through 5th place drivers running almost identical lap times. MacArthur able to hold on to it, 30 laps left to go. Laps quickly clicking off here. Robinson and Ogle hold on to the top 2 spots. MacArthur rounds out the current podium position, but he's got Dan Hill, Dakota Pischke 4th and 5th, keeping the pressure on as we pan back to Josh Robinson, race leader. Still putting drivers down, additional laps here throughout the run. Robinson licking his way through traffic, not wanting to put himself in too risky of a position here. He's got a comfortable 3.6-second margin, no big rush to make anything happen too quickly. And thankfully for him, drivers realizing, hey, the race leader's coming around, let's hop out of the way real quickly. Looks like Robinson coming up on Garrett Cottingham's number 77. Cottingham still running 10. About 2 laps down, I believe. 25 laps left to go here at Martinsville for the Metro Ford Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. Robinson holding on to a massive 4-second advantage over teammate Ogle. Ray MacArthur, who we believe was in a must-win situation, he's 9.2 seconds back, sitting in 3rd. Robinson not in championship contention, but out here for the glory of it. Laps rapidly clicking off, and a look at this as well, something interesting going on. Eddie Jones back in 6th has closed the gap to that group of MacArthur, Hill, and Pischke. MacArthur may have a little bit of help with a teammate coming from behind as Dan Hill really starting to put the pressure on that 83 machine. Let's see what's going to happen here as the battle from 3rd through 6th really starting to tighten up. You got MacArthur, Hill, Pischke, Jones. All these drivers separated by less than a second. I think I can just see Michael Watts, the 84 machine, about a dozen laps down, just kind of watching this party unfold. We're 19 laps left to go here at Martinsville. Robinson, unless he has problems with lap traffic, looking good to try and lock up a win here, but we've seen late race cautions decide the outcome here in the Metro Ford Cup Series before, and definitely would not be unheard of at Martinsville for a late race yellow flag to rear its ugly head. We've had 3 cautions so far tonight. Still MacArthur driving very defensively, trying to hold off Dan Hill, Pischke, and Jones. There's Robert Garisco just ahead. He's about to go another lap down. Pischke comes in deep, so does Hill. Everybody knowing the laps rapidly running out here in Martinsville. MacArthur's got a little bit of traffic ahead, trying to slow down the run of Hill. That's Garisco just ahead, running 13th in that number 28 Ford Mustang. MacArthur guards the inside line. He desperately wants Pischke to have to try and make his way around Hill and take some pressure off the back of that 83 machine. Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle still running 1st and 2nd. They are checking out here as it's going to be 10 laps left to go here in Martinsville, the Metro Ford Cup Series. MacArthur up the inside line against, Garisco. Garisco hopping out of the way. Dan Hill keeps the momentum as well as Dakota Pischke. Eddie Jones gets hung up ever so slightly. 9 laps left to go. Are we going to see the top 3 shake up at all here? Will we use any green-white checker attempts? So far we've had 3 cautions over the duration of the opening 242 laps. And we are intently focused on Dan Hill, who's given it absolutely everything he's got. But MacArthur just guarding that inside line. It's going to be tough to make any moves here, as this is very much a single file track, really counting on mistakes from other drivers to make anything happen, as everybody had their kind of fuel and tire strategy reset on lap 173 under caution. 6 laps left to go. It's Robinson, Ogle, MacArthur, your top 3. Hill and Pischke still very much in the hunt, just inside the top 5. And there's Eddie Jones, the last driver in the lead lap. He's running 6th, also in this fray from 3rd through 6th. It's anybody's guess. Will traffic become a factor as MacArthur faces a little bit more? Arthur dives the inside line. Oh, are we going to go 3 wide? Almost hinting at it. Dan Hill not afraid to throw it in there and see what sticks. Just great racing all across the track. Still have battles going on. A 3-4 car battle for third. We've got a battle for 11th underway. It's 4 laps left to go here at Martinsville. If we can take a white flag, we will not be in fear of using any of our green-white checker attempts. Ready to go here in Martinsville. Hill still keeping the pressure on MacArthur. Robinson and Ogle running first and second have just about checked out. Robinson 6.5 seconds ahead of Ogle. Ogle 5.3 ahead of MacArthur. Hill looking for any opening. It's 2 laps left to go. White flag will be out this time by. But Hill into the inside wall, a big bobble. MacArthur will hold on to third as Hill drops back to 6th. White flag is out. And Josh Robinson's going to bring it around for the final time here at Martinsville. Making his way through 3 and 4 the final time. There will be no more cautions. The checkered is out. And Josh Robinson picks up the win here at Martinsville. Tom Ogle will bring it home second. And Dwayne MacArthur will be rounding out the podium. What a race. Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle, the top 2 drivers waiting on MacArthur to make his way around for his podium photo. A little bit of team love going on there. Michelle cheering on Grandpa Pischke, finishing 4th. And Josh Robinson is going to put on a smoke show for the fans here at Martinsville. But waiting to get these top 3 drivers up here into victory lane. Looks like we've got Tom Ogle waiting on Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian. We've got Dwayne MacArthur, so we're going to get things started off. The number 83 machine, Dwayne MacArthur, welcome to the top 3. What a wild race here in Martinsville, and those last 20 laps must have been hectic for you, holding off everybody behind.
Yeah, those guys behind me were certainly faster than I was. I just had track position on them. Dan drove the wheels off of it, and I hate that he looped it there at the end, but it was a lot of fun.
Now, we talked before today's broadcast saying the car didn't really change too much handling-wise, just started to slow down. Did that kind of match up with the race conditions you found out here today?
Yeah, that's kind of how it felt. Yeah, it actually seemed to get a little better once the tires warmed up a little more stable. The brakes worked a little bit better once they were warm, but yeah, it didn't move, just slowed down. You're right.
And Dwayne, you talked about in the drivers meeting today that you've had some exciting races here in Martinsville this week. Was this more exciting and hectic than you were expecting, or was it a little bit smoother and cleaner than you thought it would be?
Yeah, well, it's on par with what I expected all week, but we had some rough races in the truck and Xfinity. This one was certainly much cleaner. Could have used one more at the end there, maybe, but it is what it is.
Well, Dwayne, great race start to finish. A lot of fun to watch and call, and still on the top 3 after a wild race. And before I let you sign off, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make it happen for you?
Yeah, just shout out first to our sponsors, Metro Ford Chicago, Patrick Milligan, he metroford.com. Victory Lane Sports, and Kimball. A big shout out to all the admins that help run this league, and to all the racers that come out every week and make it the best place to race. Shout out to you. Really appreciate the broadcasts. And, a bunch of people helped me out this week. It was a kind of a win or die situation. Josh and Tom and Dakota and Greg, Brian, all sorts of people. I think I was picking everybody's brain all week, and appreciate everybody. Close, just not quite there.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to more great results from you. As always, Dwayne, a pleasure talking to you, and congratulations on third tonight, my friend.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you, sir. That was Dwayne MacArthur finishing in third. Up next, we've got Tom Ogle, hard charger for the night, up 14 spots. And Tom, thank God you didn't win, or we'd never hear the end of it here.
Yeah, I was. That's yeah. I was locked in, and I didn't want to get up there and like mix it up with those guys that were fighting for the last playoff spot. I wanted to, you know what I mean. I didn't want to get up there and make a mistake. I'm using a new wheel tonight, so I just didn't want to be part of ruining somebody's playoffs, I guess.
Now, that was the original plan. Didn't opt to qualify and start at the back. And the next thing you know, you're inside the top 10. You're inside the top 5. You're in podium position. And at what point in that race did you think, I might win this thing by accident?
When the caution came out, when Dan was leading, they popped up in my relative. I was kind of just riding around, just being patient, I guess. But once he popped up in my relative, I started running harder. And then that one caution came out, and that was kind of the saving grace for me, put me back at least in contention. Josh is really good here. He kind of runs the line up off the bottom a little bit. That makes it hard to pass him. And I kind of ran the crap out of him there when we went back green, but I was hoping Dwayne would come up there. I was going to let him go and let him run the crap out of him. But it was a good race. It's kind of fun starting in the back and running your way up through when you don't have anything to lose, you know?
Yeah, exactly. When there's no pressure coming into Martinsville, that's a very good spot to be in. And Tom, looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next week at Phoenix into the Final Four, and going to be a lot of fun watching. And before we let you sign off and celebrate, who you want to give a shout out to that helped you bring home this second this evening?
Teammates there, Josh. Well, I don't want to thank him because he beat me, but Dwayne for putting on the league, you for broadcasting it, all the guys that just do everything behind the scenes. They really spend a ton of time working on this league to make it happen, and I just get to show up and have fun and tell inspiring stories.
Well, that you do, my friend. Always a pleasure. Glad you were able to get that out of the way in the drivers' meeting today, and probably the best part about here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. And those who know. But Tom, congratulations on a second finish, and hope to see you do well next week in the championship round.
$10 richer for my hard charger award too.
Absolutely, every dollar helps.
Yes, it does. All right,
Awesome.
have a great
You as
weekend,
well,
James.
Tom.
Yep.
And up next, the man of the hour, Josh Robinson, the top spot, the number 23 machine. Welcome back, Josh. And what a wild race here at Martinsville from start to finish.
How's it going, James?
I'm doing well. I enjoyed watching the racing, just the right amount of cautions to keep it fun and exciting, but not a caution fest you would find in official lobbies here on iRacing.
No, there's not really a caution fest with this league. It's good clean racing, and everybody gives and takes, and it's just good clean racing.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I believe that, I'm trying to think, that could be your 7th win of the season, I think is what it was coming into tonight. So very, very fast, and I may be mistaken on that one. That might be my apologies, but still back up front, getting back in the groove. It's always a lot of fun. What's the plans for 2023? Are we going to see that 23 back full time? And it's the 6th one of the season, excuse me. So getting back in the groove, man. When you're out here, you're up towards the front.
Yeah, some things definitely went my way. You know, that caution could have, if that's 10 laps sooner, then that maybe doesn't go too well for me. But so, we caught that one pretty good. Tom decided to do a hard charger and start in the back, so not having him up there, he's really good here. And he might have had me on that one restart, but he had a little mishap getting into 3, and that allowed me to keep that clean air in the front of that 23.
Yeah, and the fans were asking, where are we going to see you get the Gibbs treatment from Ogle tonight? So luckily, it looks like you kept them in fighting or a good defensive position over the run. And we've seen it in the past, Josh. Very rarely we'll see bump and runs here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. Were you thinking that could be a factor at all throughout today's main event?
You know, I wasn't. Tom and I always run each other clean, but really, really hard. So if there was contact, it would have definitely been incidental. But uh, the worst thing to do is, if we're running hard because we're on a live mic with each other, then if we hurt each other, no big deal. If we take someone else with us, then that's not cool. So we'll especially run a little bit less aggressive to make sure we're not getting anyone else caught up.
Always fun watching you two guys out on track, and I'm sure the banter through the team radio is always top-notch as well. Josh, it's always good having you up here in the top spot. A very clean race here in Martinsville, up 4 spots, back in the top spot, and we know if you're in the full season, you would definitely been a championship contender, so looking forward to next year as well. And as always, my friend, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make this win possible for you?
Sure. Shout out to you for doing the broadcast. Always enjoy going back and watching these. Shout out to my teammates. Tom and I were bouncing ideas off of each other last night and today. And he just got a new smooth wheel, so he's gonna be getting a little bit better, which is a little worrisome. And then shout out to the League of Men's. A lot of work goes into making this happen.
Awesome, Josh. Always a pleasure, my friend. Congratulations on another win, and hope to have you back up here next week in the championship round.
Appreciate it, James. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. That was Josh Robinson finishing the top spot. Tom Ogle getting second, and Dwayne MacArthur finishing third. And before our special announcement, I'd like to once again thank our sponsors, eMetroFord.com. Looking for a new or used Ford vehicle? Check them out, eMetroFord.com. Victor Lane Sports. Also coming on board this season, Gimbal.net and Dr. Amy the Thyroid Fixer. Thank you again to Old Bastards Racing for having us out. And a quick announcement. For the first time on camera here at the Metro Ford Cup Series, my name has been James East, calling the action for the last couple of years at the Sunday morning Metro Ford Cup Series. It's been an absolute pleasure calling the races, making friends with all these absolute drivers on and off the racetrack. Next week, it's going to be my counterpart, Mason Heimbach, covering the season finale. So this will actually be my final send-off of the year for the Metro Ford Cup Series. Thank you so immensely much to the fans, friends, and racers, as well as league admins, for having me a part of your large and dysfunctional family. These shows aren't nearly as much fun without some good friends and some good racers to help me call the action. So again, thank you sincerely, spending every Sunday morning with me on our big virtual racetrack and having the time of our lives. For the final time this season, my name has been James East. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, thank you all so much for your time and valuable fanship. I couldn't have done without you, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great day, everybody.